Very good. So welcome, everybody. Second day of spring. It's really spring. I think I want to be out there. And so here's our March age-friendly meeting. Everybody got my email with the agenda and last month's, was it last month or the previous month's meeting minutes? Did we meet last month? We didn't meet last month,
Just the January.
just the January one, because we had the snow down event. That's
Right.
right. So, and in that email, I'd sent out what I hoped was the final progress report of our work plan. And so that is on the age-friendly website, on the age-friendly committee tab. On the Millinocket website, if anybody wants to look at it, but so there it lives, right? And so any kind of reporting we need to do or look back to see where we're at, our progress, it is still there. Yeah, so I have an extra copy or a couple copies if you didn't see it, if you wanted to see it. So that's available. Try not to get too over paper heavy. You didn't go through it? Do you want a paper copy?
I did go through. I
Oh.
did print it.
Okay. Oh, nice. You saved a tree or whatever.
Save
Or-
paper.
Saved paper. So, yeah, so a little bit of housekeeping. So I think that's there. Like I said, that lives there. And, as I included on, our agenda, we did, let me back up just for process approval of the meeting minutes from January. Those were sent out. Did anybody have any corrections, edit, see anything that needed to be? Okay.
I'll make a motion to get accepted.
Thank you. Everybody in favor? Second motion. Everybody in favor? Yeah. So those meeting minutes are approved and they are already on the town website. So don't need to make any changes to those. Just a quick recap of the priorities, and we're going to talk about one of or two of them today in the meeting. Handy Helpers Program, that rose to the top, and that's something that we really need to get started this year. ADA accessibility of Jerry Pond, that's always on the radar, especially of the town, and especially of this committee. So we'll pay attention to that when we have some opportunities to work with the rec department in the town to be looking at some of the improvements that need to be made there. Falls prevention program, that was also mentioned when we met in January, and I know Eastern area potentially has a program going, and there's the matter of balance. Yep. And I can pause for a second. Is there anything happening currently through Eastern area?
Here, no, they have regular classes in Brewer right now, but we, if we find that we want to partner with them and do something, then I will reach out to Lori and we can make something happen up here at Stearns, or just through people doing Zoom with it.
Okay.
So,
and so I guess I'm just going to ask the question, would it have to happen at your location, or like it was mentioned that there's other exercise programs happening even at the Elks sort of thing?
no, it wouldn't have to be necessarily there. I was just thinking where we already have the Zoom capability there with our TV set up with the cameras and stuff, but yeah, let me reach out to Lori who runs that program and see what we can do with that. So
Nice to collaborate that way.
Yeah. If there's a place that people are going already to exercise, and if there's
At least to promote it at the Elks exercise class or the other ones going on, wherever it happens, would be a good idea.
If it's Zoom right from there, you get to see participants working out.
yeah,
and that seems to be the way a lot of the programs are going, right? People watch it virtually and then do it their own. So is somebody able to do that in their own home even? Or
I think they would be able to. I honestly don't know a ton
Okay.
about the program yet because I'm strictly Meals on Wheels, but
yeah.
I will, like I said, I'll talk to Lori and I'll get all the information I can on it and I'll pass it on to the group.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's good. All right. We also had to create and formalize the call-in check-in program with Millinocket Fire Department. I'm hoping that John can speak to us about that in just a minute. And then also on our work plans from last year, we talked about research and implement ADA accessibility throughout the town. So that's sort of a look at the businesses and stuff. So yeah, we'll keep talking about it, Louis, and we'll see how we can plug away at that. Yeah, right. Anybody, any comment thus far on agenda items and knowing some of our priorities?
Can I just ask a question?
Please.
And apologies, I wasn't at the last meeting, so
Mhm.
it's covered extensively. I was just curious how the priorities were determined for the plan. Was it just what people had an interest in, or? How was that determined?
Anybody? Anybody want to take a stab at that or just?
Well, it was through looking through our action plan and projects that we had some start
Okay,
in order to get them done within a year, kind of a thing, 2 years. There's a timeline that we have to consider what we can do, what we can't do.
Mhm.
So I think all those things come into consideration as to which thing to tackle next.
Right. Yeah.
Accessibility like on Central Street, or is that, where's that at now, that project?
That project, that sits with the town and we still have an agreement with DOT, so we need to,
Move that along,
move that along. So, yeah, some of that through the, yes.
it'd be nice to see that change.
Yeah. So Diane, yes, we went like line by line, box by box, just all our activities and what's already started, what's that made good progress, and some of these things that hadn't made good progress, but really were important to us. It's like, okay, let's really pay attention to these this year, knowing the other things are still happening,
Yeah.
and that we're still plugging away at them.
that's honestly very helpful,
Yeah.
just because the whole plan is so long.
Oh
It
my
can be
gosh,
overwhelming to
yeah.
know where to start. So just,
Right.
some focus areas for now.
And I think
The-
maybe too, I'm sorry, just trying to gather volunteers who are interested in a particular project and being able to pull it off, right now.
Yeah. And some of them, there's collaborators, stakeholders out there that we can
Right.
touch base with, work with, so.
It's
Whatever
such as
comes
what
in.
we just heard from Andrew as far as
Right.
stuff that used
Do
to.
the low hanging fruit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And hearing some of our data from the M-Dash presentations and knowing that there's a lot of older women living alone in their homes and older
Right.
homes and just needed, so that's handy helper program, especially in the winter. I just, even in the grocery store, had conversations with people and just heard about the tremendous need, and somebody's, talking about leaving and moving somewhere else where there is more help available. She had money to even pay somebody to come do jobs and couldn't get anybody to line up. So I heard different stories, and so it just,
Yeah.
it keeps perpetuating some of the same stories. So when
Mhm.
can we make something happen? So.
The handy helpers idea, or just the need for that, comes up a lot here at the library and through the Mobilize program. We were just talking about it the other day, so.
Yeah, it's just hard to get people on the line and schedule like in a timely manner, any kind of home repair. It's, yeah, we're lacking in people in the industry.
I wonder if schools could be a source of workers or Region 3, people in the trades, that kind of thing, while they're in school, they could be part-time workers doing some projects.
So even just having this discussion is a discussion that we need to have. And so I was thinking that we needed to create a work group specific to that handy helpers program. So to flesh out all those ideas that we're hearing. Yeah. So perhaps that will be something that I need to just shoot an email out who,
Like a little subcommittee.
yeah, create a subcommittee for that. So,
Maybe
yes.
Deb or Jasmine from the Higher Ed Center might want to be involved in that too. If you're thinking about getting youth involved or people in the trade schools.
Right.
I'd like to ask a clarifying question.
Sure.
M-Dash, is that where you get your data from?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so
Good.
M-Dash is an acronym, so municipal data across
Sectors.
sectors for help, yes, thank you.
I think I've heard that.
Sectors as, yeah, so the Maine Council on Aging, we actually have a memorandum of understanding or memorandum of agreement with the town to participate. It's like a 2-year program, and they're collecting our local level data for us and just really sharing with us. And the intent is that we look at that data and we create 2 or 3 actionable items so that we can address.
That's how you come up with a priority.
For some of these, we already had started that through our age-friendly, being part of the AARP. Help me out, Sarah.
Laura Lab.
Yeah, I know. We had created that work plan starting in 2019, and we had a lot of data to substantiate why we chose these activities. Since then, Maine Council on Aging has stepped in and said, let's help you gather some other data.
And it really just supported the things that we said, see, we really need this.
Yeah,
So,
Solidified it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Gave
Appreciate that.
statistics to it.
yeah,
Stitch it, yes, yeah. Yeah, so we're coming at it all angles, Michelle. Some of it we just knew because we lived, we're from here and
Right.
different organizations had data to share with us.
Yeah.
But a lot of what M-Dash is census data and some other data that just lives out there in cyberspace that
right.
they have
Yeah.
the means to collect for us and
Right.
Yeah, reading
present it.
census data and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
census
we
data.
just heard a lot of things, even from the event we had at the Boreal Theater in October, just people saying, "Oh," those little enacted, scenarios where people said, oh my gosh, yeah, this is a problem. We need, help making my home safer. How can I live here, not have to move away? That just kept coming to the fore that people need this help. But again, like Laura mentioned, where do you get the help? Sometimes that's the sticking point. I noticed a neighbor yesterday we talked with about walking, they had a big red van there from Orono that are maintenance people doing odd jobs for them. She said, it's the nearest person I could find, is in Orono to come up, and that's not great.
So Randy, I see your hands up. Go ahead, come off mute, please.
So one of the handy helper ideas that I thought, we know the demographics, we know the elderly folks. I wonder if we could maybe pick 10 of those people, just ask them if we could make a safety survey of their home and make some suggestions if we find any, and then go about trying to find out some handy helpers to get those things done. Just an idea.
Yeah, so you're seeing like an audit. If we had 10 people in this demographic willing to have, I know Tom has talked about that before, and I know he does a lot of assessments, and maybe John's gonna roll into that role, so to speak. So like to do an audit of someone's home and just say, here's what we're seeing from our perspective.
Yes.
Or people to self-identify. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Both.
Both,
People that
yeah.
live in their homes know things that are difficult for them.
Yeah.
They could bring that out and you could see the safety issue in it. And give it some supporting terminology
Yeah.
to get it done.
Yep. So Tom or John, do you have a comment around that suggestion?
Well, that's one of the things that Remembering When does. When we go in with Remembering When program, it's not only an exercise program, but it's also to check their environment and check their home. To see for fall hazards, fire hazards, all that kind of stuff. But then when you do that, when you identify those things, if you go in and identify those, then you have to find a cure for them.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that if we're going to do that, that we have somebody that's going to go in and do the repairs, especially if it's a safety issue.
And where's the money come from for that, if they cannot afford it? Is it something that we could link them maybe as Mobilize Katahdin, having resources as far as connecting with Penquist or someone that can do some of these repairs? I'm not sure if it's as simple as that, or I don't know.
But I think Jane hit that. That's a great idea. If we could come up with like 5 or 10 as like a pilot thing, just go in and look and see,
Yeah.
To get some idea. I mean, I have some idea because we're in the homes a lot, but
Yeah, to find some way to put it out there, like, oh, people in Millinocket, we're looking for 5 or 10 volunteers to like,
Right.
Yeah.
This program
To
off
get
the
the pro-
ground.
yeah, we could-
To really advise what direction it should take. That's a great idea.
and to see if people will just sort of volunteer that way. Yeah, puts a different spin on it, but we get where we kind of, gets us
And it
started.
might reduce some of the stigma of saying, I'm asking for help.
Mhm.
If you're
Yeah.
just participating in a
Yeah.
pilot program to direct a
Yeah.
program,
You're helping us.
right,
Yeah,
help us.
and the good thing with that is, see, we've got those templates all made. The NFPA has already made all those templates up. We're in the process right now. In fact, I'm going to training on it. We're changing from Remembering When to Safe Step, but it's basically the same program.
Safe step.
Safe step, yeah.
That sounds great. So Laura, you just mentioned, so folks that don't know Laura, as far as you answer the phone for Mobilize Katahdin, right? So tell me, what kind of calls are you getting?
So generally, I'm getting a lot of like healthcare navigation. Housing is huge, 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 never a day without like some housing interaction. And we're just coming to the end of the heating season. So repairs do come up a lot. Things like installing ramps come up a lot as well. Sort of like connecting people to like Disability Rights Maine. Pickwoods does have home repair grants, as you're probably more familiar with than I am. And yeah, it's a lot of different things, but it comes back to just people trying to access programs that largely already exist. It's just, if they do get the home repair grant, who is going to repair the home? I think it comes back to just getting people out here to town with the skills that are needed to do the project. Like, I know we do have some tradesmen in the area. It's just sometimes what they need is a little more invasive, a bigger scale, particularly with these aging houses. So a lot of times it's a matter of, someone calls and the house is so far from being, up to code,
yeah.
essentially, that, it comes down to, is it salvageable? Which is
Yeah.
a scary thing for sure,
Laura,
especially with older folks.
you mentioned the ramps, and what came to mind right off was, do you collaborate with Alpha One?
With Alpha One, I haven't yet. The ramps come up,
Back-
sparingly, but
Back
there
some
are.
10 years or so ago, 15 maybe, when I was on the board, they started a program specifically for ramps where they have FAME funding for them, and they would program was geared around the ramp for the person,
Yeah,
and it was modular, so that it could be, if the person wanted to move, the ramp went with them. And they contracted with local contractors to build them. They gave them the plans, the templates to go by.
Yeah.
And, you can help with the financing. So Alpha One's be a good
oh, yeah.
resource.
I think the VA has provided some ramps in the
Yeah.
past as well.
I was just gonna say that, the VA, I mean, there's a lot of veterans that don't realize what's available to them out there.
Yeah,
and
but
we're
some of
finding that out.
Some of these programs end up building monstrosities that
Mhm.
end up being stuck where their foot, not as useful. And this particular Alpha One program was really
Mobile.
avant-garde, if you will.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, and
People first.
Yeah, that's good.
and with some of the changes to ADA, you can't just go putting a ramp up anymore. Now it has to be engineered and has to have the right
Right
pitch.
pitch.
And
Mhm.
Oh,
Louis
yeah.
knows, yeah,
Yeah, with Alpha
there's
One
a lot
program
more
is all
to it now
around
than
that.
just
Yeah,
nailing up a ramp.
Yeah, taking care of the liability out of it.
Mhm.
yeah.
I wonder
Barbara?
if we could put together, like an emergency, hotline list of electricians or plumbers who'd be willing to come on short notice, because yesterday morning, my thermostat battery died and I woke up and it was really cold and the thermostat was blank. I picked it off the wall, saw that it had 2 batteries, went and got them. But if I hadn't been able to walk and go get them or drive and go get them, I would have needed somebody like an electrician. It was a trivial repair, but I didn't know if it was going to be trivial or major. And it was getting really cold. So,
Yeah.
and I know, because I know Tracy Perry has been renovating her fixer-upper. She's having a lot of trouble getting any people to come and work. So if we could assemble a list of people, I know Joe Montgomery did a lot of work for me. He's fantastic, but he's super busy. And that really cold weekend with the -50 Saturday,
Mhm.
when pipes froze that weekend, someone told me one local plumber got 130 calls, so maybe just to triage, make a list of people who say, if someone calls you and they say it's an emergency, can you be there in half an hour? It might be trivial, not just come and build a ramp or redo my bathroom, but life or death.
So Barbara, I think what you're talking about can be part of that.
Yeah.
The work group, and it's been mentioned before, do
Exactly.
we have a list of all the plumbers, all the electricians? So
Right.
there's gotta, Yeah,
just-
so that it's available. We have to be careful that we're not promoting anybody or just
Right,
like
but
any kind
just
of
really
liability, but just
connect with the people.
providing a list.
And because
Yeah.
some people will say, oh, I'm 2 months out, I'm busy,
Yeah.
but have
Through an
some
emergency.
kind of agreement that if someone says that it's an emergency, you'll take it seriously. I don't know.
Yeah, even if it's just a triage call where they just go, no, with no promises that they could fix anything, just go.
Right,
evaluate the
I'll check it out,
situation.
right.
Maybe it can be fixed like this,
Yeah.
or.
Because there's
Gotta put
very-
it in the books, it's gonna be 3 weeks.
Lots of levels of need and some are trivial, but life threatening.
We have been compiling a list of these because it keeps coming up. And again, we haven't at the library, obviously don't want to promote one or the other, but just, licensed businesses, here's all the options.
Yeah.
So I think I've compiled maybe like 40 or so local contractors of different types,
Nice.
but it definitely, I would love to like get names added to the list, send it out, crowdsource, and then I love your idea just about, maybe it's not a promise, but just, hey, are you interested in these sort of on the fly emergency calls, if they happen to come your way, who can we, list under that category.
Yeah, who is the 24-hour server service people?
Good. So great. So you just asked. So we just gotta figure out like where that can land and how many places that list can live, sort of thing, so people have access
And
to
who's
it.
still in town, who's still
Yeah.
working, I don't know how often you check the list.
Yeah, it sounds like you got
I
that.
just compiled in the last year or so.
Oh, that's
so
great, yeah,
Relatively
okay.
recent, but
Mhm.
it's always.
Because the good people are always super busy, yeah.
So, from the library standpoint, is that gonna be something that lives on your website somewhere that people
Is it a
can just share?
posting?
So we just
Like you have a posting down here for jobs. Is there another bulletin board somewhere that people in the community could access this information?
Yeah, that was kind of part of the conversation to have people available to post what they do.
Well, Diana's list.
Angie's list, right?
Laura's list.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly have the ability for now to put it on our website. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's
Right.
the ultimate place that makes sense for a list like
Yeah.
that to live, potentially in a physical form here too, but, is there anyone who's interested in working on this in a little more
Look at that.
depth? I can send the list out that we have to all of you to just crowdsource and see what we're missing, but,
Yeah, that sounds great.
That would be great if we could get a copy of that, so that when we get a call, we can't recommend anybody, but we've got, a list.
Right.
Here's who's on the list. If you want to call them yourself and set something up, that'd be really helpful.
Right.
great.
Yeah, it's like when you move back to town or you're new people in town and especially you're not familiar with who's available anymore. It's all word of mouth and
Mhm.
ask your neighbors, who do you know that's a plumber? Who do you know that's an electrician? It's a process,
Not everyone's experience is the same too.
right?
Correct.
Just to get someone to come we had a sewer issue 2 years ago and couldn't get anyone.
If we ever got into doing the like welcome packet or welcome bag when people move to town, this would be an excellent thing.
Yeah.
Include in there. That's
Definitely.
one of the hardest things to get a hold of here.
Yeah, I think Yarmouth, Age Friendly Yarmouth did that.
That's where, yeah.
Yeah, see, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
great idea. But they did that. They did a little welcome wagon packet.
And you can always date it at the bottom, as far as updated as of,
Right.
so like if there's ever new renditions of it or new
Once a
editions
year
of it,
update.
so.
I know the Northern Forest Center had like a welcome packet for new residents. And there was some kind of list associated with that as well. So I don't know if they've added on to that or if it's updated. But I think the ultimate goal was that to be shared with any new resident, not just residents who live in their properties.
So maybe check in with Denise to see if she has that, Denise DeVoe. Great.
Happy to do that.
Michelle, you'll check in with
Yes, do
Denise?
that.
Yeah, great, thank you. So as far as like just wrapping up this discussion about Handy Helpers program, we need a committee, right? And so do you think if I just send out an email, start with this committee to see who wants to be on it and then just figure out like, do we put it out, use the town website to put it out there, who would like to volunteer? That sort of thing. Who has suggestions on like next steps for this to? Or do we need to create a pilot project? Seems like it's all got to go together because we need people to participate, but we also need people that will respond. Like Tom, like you said, if you do an audit, is it safe to assume that you or some of your guys would be doing the audit, or is there somebody else, that's been trained to do those sort of home audits?
No, I would do that.
We would,
Because we do it under I would use the Remembering When program. I would
Okay.
use that guide.
Maybe when you
That's
send
what
out the invitation to a work group, you could say potential projects include a pilot program with 10 people, a compilation of current electricians and plumbers.
we can. Okay. We'll get started with a committee.
That's right.
One more committee, yeah. All right, great.
We call it a work group. so that
Yeah.
doesn't seem like.
Yeah.
like-
We're working
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
Meeting.
I'm happy to.
Action group.
Yeah. This is start and finish, it's not like live forever.
The
Is that
work group shift, they change shape and they shift.
Yeah. Very good.
Task force.
That's, that's easy ask, Diana, you got it. You're right.
Lincoln
Um,
Towers.
So moving right along, into like new business, that was old and new, right? But a call-in, check-in program. I know, Jonathan, that was something that you were looking a little bit in. Any progress, anything we can help you with? Tell us what you need.
Yeah, so I did some research, reached out to some other departments that were doing a program. They're very similar to that. So some of the challenges I think for us will be they have one person that's all they focus on, so they're a person who can answer the phone at any time. Our challenge is going to be, our crew could be out on an ambulance call or a fire call during the time that we offer for them to call. So I think it's just working out their details there is going to be the biggest challenge for us right now to see what time works the best, but also as to get people to sign up for the program. Right now, we only have one person who uses the program that we have and they call in. So if people can call in, that's easier on the department. So I think, once we get everything worked out, and we get a flyer created or whatnot, it's to have them call in is going to be the best way for us.
Have you decided a name?
I have not. So there's many different programs, names out there. Friendly caller, friendly their neighbor, their friendly fire department caller program. So I haven't really came up with one that I like, but I'm up for any ideas that you guys have.
So, yeah, so can you back up a little bit? Michelle said, what are we calling in for? So,
All right, so yeah,
Only my
so
second
some
meeting,
people
sorry.
just want to call in and tell us, that things are going well. It's just a program for them to call in because some of them might not have anybody else to call in and, make sure things are going well. So, sometimes they have a family member who might call and make sure that they're okay, elderly person. And some people don't have anybody else, so they can call in and we can make sure that things are going well. If we don't hear from them, then we can do a well-being check or have law enforcement do their well-being check as well on them. So
Thank you.
yeah, so last meeting, I didn't realize that there's some people that actually called the fire department and just say, hey, just so you know, here's my weekly check-in, things are going well with me. Yeah, a lot of times it goes the other way, like fire departments will get a list of folks that are willing, they have to be willing to receive the calls and just say, hey, how's things are going? So this one is bi-directional, right? It can go either way, either like somebody from the fire station calls them or they can choose to call into the fire station to be accounted for. So we just know so many people in the community live alone. And so just want them to have, it's sort of like it is like sort of a wellness check and just,
Yeah,
a touch point. Yeah.
trying to think of a different name.
You're he's brainstorming, the friendly caller program, like you said, other people have adopted different,
Something that would fit more to what it is.
yeah. Good
That-
morning, Paul, go ahead. Jamie.
Michelle,
Yes.
just, there's a lot of them just want somebody to talk to,
Yes.
just to have somebody that they can call and say, hey, it's snowing at Millinocket Lake and things are going good, 2 or 3 minute conversation. But it's just to reach out and to make sure that they're okay. And we have the gentleman that we have if he doesn't call and we can't get him, then we have contacts to make with his family, So it's really just a feel-good program. It's really what it.
Mhm. Yep.
Very nice,
Could be life-saving too.
Caring calls
No.
program.
What comes to mind is
I like that.
with Jonathan pointing out that having the availability of somebody being on the, available at the phone when these calls come in or go out. Wouldn't it work if we could try to get people that we call, get them involved in the program, calling each other maybe, and then reporting it in somehow? I'm just,
You're just, yep.
yeah,
Right,
just
like
trying
a
to.
telephone,
Yeah.
you're the last person, someone along the way.
Call chain, call through.
Or it's just a couple of them that are willing to call numerous people and then report them in, but they made the check.
It does seem like a great program for volunteer involvement, if they really are usually short
Well,
check-in calls and.
and if they're doing it, it's like they're getting more socialization than, someone would want more than others,
Right,
you.
yeah, so I'm gonna have a 20-minute chat with someone.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
10 5-minute, 2-minute chats with a bunch of people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could coordinate it that way and have a master list that he reports into at the end of the day or whatever.
People who voluntarily offer their contact info.
And so we tried to start this early on back when Shelley Blaisdell was here and first started. Yeah. As far as the call-in check-in program and, offered, she would be the person that would call, but she didn't get people, or we would have a volunteer that would check in, and that program itself didn't get off the ground. So here's why we're back at utilizing the fire department, because they say they're doing it anyway. And so this has almost come full circle, sort of like what you were talking about, Louis. We tried to start that in some form or fashion. And just knowing that Tom has been doing it for a long time, and it was something that Jonathan was willing to pick up. We were trying to let this program sort of sit at the fire station, so to
Right.
speak. So I think we build it there first, and then if it grows and we need volunteers,
Yeah,
Then,
I'm talking about it being just a piece of the,
piece of the program. Yeah.
yeah, then those that you're contacting, some of them may want to be more
Yep.
involved.
And that's something that Jonathan can assess too. If you
Right.
get somebody that's really chatty, say, I've got somebody else that calls me and I'm like, you can say, do you mind if I give, share your phone number and,
Like a free,
yeah.
It's hard for trust, for people
Trust.
to trust, and you get so many calls nowadays, all of us do, that you think, oh, just, who is this calling me? And they hang up. So
Yeah.
the fire department's so recognizable and so trusted, and I think that's why it's successful for them to call there as opposed to just having some random person they
Yeah.
don't know. Until they
Well,
build that trust.
Yeah, it wouldn't be random,
No, I'm just
Yeah.
saying it,
Yeah.
they'd have to know who it was.
yeah. Introduce them into
Right.
the work plan.
I think the fire department makes sense as a home base for this, so I have a couple of volunteers in mind who I think would be great, so if it does reach that point.
Yeah.
John.
I have the list of original people who are interested in being volunteers on that end as well, so if they, just let us know and we can hand those contacts over. I can update with something if they're still interested,
idea.
but it was with even some in the last year. I
Yep.
mentioned they'd be down for that.
All in free or something. I don't know.
In terms of a
Yeah.
name, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking something like Friendly Ears.
Yeah.
Friendly Ears program. So,
Branding is important.
Yeah.
Friendly listener program, friendly caller program.
Uh-huh.
Send your suggestions to John.
Yeah.
That's right. It's
I think,
content
moving
meetings.
forward, the biggest thing's coming up with a name and also the best time frame that's gonna work for us at the fire department for people to call in. I think it's gonna be the biggest thing. I've created a kind of a rough outline for application, not really application, but for us to gather some contact information. So, address where they're calling from, their phone number, contact information for family members, and also, if they have a key that's hidden somewhere that if we need to go inside their home, we know where that is, location of that then, so.
Are you at the point where if we had someone, we could refer them to you for this program? Or?
Yeah, I mean, you could send somebody down to us and we could, you know, we could run a trial. The guy who calls us, he calls every morning, probably about 6:45. So I'm kind of wondering if that time frame there is gonna work well because it's right at shift change for us almost. So, but yeah, if you guys have somebody who's interested, just send them our way and we can work out something with them.
Do you have John, a call forwarding system or anything like that when no one's in the building?
We don't, so nobody else, you know, it doesn't ring into anybody other than it goes into the 911 center. That's just for emergency calls. So nobody else answers our phone other than for that reason. So,
But we have that capability. Right now, that if a call comes in, if it's on the hotline, the 5125 line, it's gonna pass to Penobscot. It's gonna pass them automatically to 911. And they have to handle it no matter what it is, even if it's a request. If they call 7026, if there's nobody here, it forwards to my phone. We can change that. We can have that go to different things if we get to that capability for that number of people.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Okay.
okay.
7026. So we have the phone number, we need a name. And you've got some, like you said, there's not an application per se, it's just information. Like you said, if somebody was supposed to had called or you were supposed to call them, couldn't reach them, you have like step 2, like, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
follow up, like you said. Okay. So if we think of any names, we run them, we throw them out to Jonathan. Perhaps we need a bunch of names.
I like Sarah's, care calls.
Yeah, Karen calls.
I liked yours, but Barbara, but I think that implies, let's have a long conversation. So I
Yeah.
have listening ears.
Yeah.
So that's just my instinct.
Yeah, like instead of a DoorDash, what is it? More DoorDash conversation. Yeah, all right. So we just don't want to take too long to come up with a name, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, if we could come up with something by the next time we meet, or even
Yeah.
before, we could send out, you know, so we could actually vote on her or whatnot for the next meeting, that'd be great.
yeah. Sounds good.
I got one, John. We'll talk about it.
Okay,
Super secret, yeah.
It's ominous.
Yeah, no kidding, yeah. All right. Plugging away here. So, when I always ask for agenda items, and so I heard back from Barbara, and she said she and Sarah have been talking about Earth Day. So what do you have for an idea around Earth Day, April 22nd?
People meeting downtown with trash bags and just doing a Main Street cleanup. Spring spruce up. I know they did it a couple years ago. Yeah.
I talked to Tom about that earlier to try to, there's some groups that have done like a spruce up of downtown. He mentioned Bangor Savings Bank is, I don't know if the
Yeah.
tellers there or the workers there had done something in the past, or I remember Janelle Sear as a community member had done some things and some painting, so I don't know. It'd be interesting to know who's already doing things to
Right.
collaborate.
Yeah, is
instead
the
of just-
town
yeah.
crew already
Yeah.
have a day of street sweeping or whatever, and or could we do some kind of flyer to hand out to all the merchants downtown and say, hey, everyone kind of policing your area, and we're here to help sweep or whatever.
Bangor Savings does that in the spring. They pick a project around the community. I think that they did, I was trying to think after I talked to Jane, I thought they did the little Great Northern Park. I think they cleaned that up one year. Did some spruce up over in that area. But I know that they're always looking. I don't know if they've got a project for this year or not already, but. And as I was telling Jane, I think if we wanted to do something like that with volunteers, I think if we got Hall O'Brien, he could tell us what. what we can do to help them getting Penobscot Avenue cleaned up and ready for.
Meaning Public Works, when he says Brian.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Public Works, yes.
Yeah, so Peter, I've noticed you came on mute. Do you have ideas, suggestions?
Well, I remember, maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Trish Sear, with the help of our Katahdin and some communication around the public, just started from a Facebook post, and I mean, there must have been 40 or more people that showed up on the main drag here one afternoon. And I mean, they brought brooms and shovels and wheelbarrows, and it was a really cool community coming together moment. And they swept the sidewalks and cleaned out the gutter drains on the sidewalks, and picked up all the trash and raked the leaves, and you know, several people had trucks and big tarps and hauled everything away. I think that could be a great opportunity to make it an event, an Earth Day event cleanup. Put out some, when is Earth Day? Is it
22nd, April 22nd, so it's just a month away.
right around the corner? I think if there was some communication out and maybe some information, we could certainly, I'm sure, use Amber and some of the communication platforms that she runs for the town. Maybe several from this group and her can connect on that, and I'm sure we can pull together quite a crew from the community to pitch in.
So if we did something like that, let's just get a couple details. Is it an afternoon event, a morning event, a day-long event? Like if we were to target
9 to 12, something like that.
I say it's a morning into the afternoon thing with Tom and the crew, or John offering up some firehouse meals.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get John cooking for the community.
There we go.
Chili in shaking his head.
As soon as I can, yeah. No, I think it'd be a great opportunity to bring people together and do something nice. And we've seen it work well in the past, so, you know,
Yeah.
I think that we would get some good participation from it.
So I'm just wondering, does it, you know, what are our next steps? Does it just sit in this committee and we try to figure it out? You're talking about Amber, is there an events committee? I mean, they just had an events committee, so it's sort of an event, like what's our next steps? So we don't lose any momentum
Well,
or time.
if I can share a thought, kind of frankly,
Please.
it was the last time it was done, and I think the most successfully it was done, it was outside of the town government. And it happened quickly and efficiently. There were not
Yeah.
overwhelming amount of committee meetings or
Yep.
council approvals or anything like that.
Yep.
I think it can be
Word
pretty
out.
grassroots and simple.
So-
Social media,
Business.
Somebody just needs to take charge of it, and I think that maybe if one or two from this group gets a hold of Amber for some help with the communication platforms and the social media, then I think that I'm sure you can come up with a plan pretty quickly. I'm willing to help.
One question I have is, do we wanna loop in any of the downtown, the garden, work too? Cause I know we had the event there last year, and it's close enough that I could imagine looping in. I would defer to Brittany and Sarah on that, but.
Yeah, community garden stuff is a conversation in the Economic Development Committee right now.
Okay.
And trying to figure out who's gonna be the lead for that. I can have a better answer for you after our next meeting. Um. But yeah, I agree with Peter. I was there and there were a lot of people that showed up, and it was like the height of COVID, unfortunately, but people were just so excited to like get outside and do something with other people in person. And it was great. There was like a news article about it all. Yeah, but it was a local business who got the word out, I believe, or at least they sponsored it. I was brand new to town, so I was just there. I don't. But I know like there were t-shirts and that kind of
wasn't there
stuff. was
artwork in all
available.
the business windows too, like with grease pens and I remember that right.
That was a different one. I
Was that a
think.
different one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
And
I
they made
think
iHeart.
Living
go on.
Innovations had a big population.
Yeah.
Turned out I have to be out of town that weekend. That's not the best weekend for me, but.
So what do we really need to make this happen? We need some kind of graphic, probably, to get the word out, basic info. We use Amber's channels, communication. We need probably a point person the day of for as volunteers come in and need a task. To coordinate like what supplies are needed. And I love the fire have meal idea. Some way to, you know, at least coffee and donuts or something to, you know, bring people together during the event. So that's like a small expense, but someone to kind of take that on.
Start and end time.
Yeah.
Circulate this flyer.
So someone threw out 9 to 12, someone else suggested it going a little later. I mean, could it be like a drop in anytime during this period? 9 to 2 or something like that?
You're gonna get people that don't get up early, you're gonna get people that don't wanna waste their afternoon.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Willing to start to get nice.
Yeah.
They may have other ideas.
And a way to take away the trash bags, right?
Yeah.
A plan for that, yeah. Maybe a list of possible tasks that people, you know, this will be done in the morning, and so people can think, oh, I'd like to do that, and this is when I might come, so.
So it kind of just difficult.
Would anybody at Arcot Hutton, if they did it last time, would they be?
I don't know what was done last time, but I'm more than happy to contribute any way that's needed.
And I'm wondering, do people bring their own rakes, bring their own, I just can't imagine like there's a
They
huge
did at that
amount.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everyone
Right,
brought
for
their
sure.
own shovels, their own rakes,
Your own
and people
broom.
showed up and like there weren't those things, so people went home and got them and then came back, like it, yeah.
Come prepared with your work gloves and, yeah, accoutrements.
Yeah.
Community cleanup. Go with our care calls. The C's, sorry.
Right.
So if it's not one of the groups around the table right now that wants to like own this event, who else might be willing? Or maybe it is, I'm sensing
Right.
no one wants.
I
to.
know, no.
Nobody's looking into this.
I'm happy to, but I just need help with flyers and details and.
I also
things like
think that
so.
the chamber should be approached for some events like these, especially because it's a spruce up for the downtown,
Mhm.
highlighting our businesses. So
Definitely.
if the chamber is there and they're controlling a lot of that, they can also speak with the businesses and talk about how there's this event happening that day, like maybe there's a special at a restaurant or they have special hours that day, so they're open and people are actually there and can go to those places. So I would like to see the chamber in the
That's a good idea.
conversation.
Perfect, that's a great idea.
It's a good outreach opportunity for their new staff too.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Maybe the Elks too? or- I'll
Just know
help you, I
people
can't be
there.
the point person.
Michelle happens to have connection.
I know
too.
one or two, right?
Yeah.
I could help you
Yeah.
brainstorm, I don't want to be the point person, but I can help you brainstorm if you want.
So when you say the Elks, you mean as far as the location or just more?
Maybe
reaching out
donating
for
some money for
volunteers?
donuts or coffee or just getting the word out too.
Or maybe like had brought up Bangor Savings before, maybe
Yep.
go back to the bank or even Godin Federal Credit Union, or
Mhm.
we just,
Mhm.
yeah, so your list is getting longer and that wasn't the intent. But as far as the community
It's my
piece, but
contact.
okay. So I guess stay tuned for something to happen on Saturday, April 22nd, and put it on your calendar, so we'll make sure that we can all be there. All right, I just, the next on the agenda, I was just gonna mention, ask Brittany and Barbara just to mention, we did put a couple AARP challenge grants in.
Yeah, we did a challenge grant geared towards helping out with Bobby's Gardens to help her get some supplies, replacement parts, some marketing funding to try and grow her volunteer base to hopefully get that to be more sustainable rather than sporadic. So we'll know. I think, what is it, late April? We'll know if we get the funding. So fingers crossed for that. And I know that she also has a volunteer workforce info session on April 3rd or something. It's coming up pretty soon.
How is she publicizing that? Because I haven't seen anything about it.
She emailed a very small group of people.
Mm.
And I know that the only people from the town, I saw Peter on there and then I saw Tom on there, and I'm not sure.
Could that be in the April Magic Monthly thing?
I forwarded it to Amber, so I'm hoping that it'll be in there, but she is trying to grow her volunteer base, but hopefully with some funding to match that, we can get that to be not just like a spring cleanup help and a fall cleanup help. It can be all season. Yeah.
The event on the 22nd would be great if she wants to come and recruit. too.
Yeah, and I know that the Katahdin Woods and Waters, they do their camp, right? Is that through the library somewhat? I think Elise was volunteering their group to volunteer with her too, so. Yeah.
And so when Brittany said we, so Thrive Penobscot, we put that in under as fiscal agent for that. So if we get it, we'll make sure that it gets appropriated appropriately. Yeah, yeah. And that was in our age-friendly work plan to help Bobby with their developing volunteers for her.
Yeah, in
community
connection
garden.
with that, for the Michaud Trail, we submitted a grant for 5 solar lights. Amber Wheaton helped with that, specs on that, and then if we get the 5 lights, we'll maybe ask the town to match it with 5 more.
Along the Michaud Trail. Very good.
But we remember the library, put in that.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
You're on.
Yes, yeah. Are there other partner updates? Do we, seems like we need to hear a little bit about farmers,
Support groups.
yeah, I'm
Oh, we can go
not
over
gonna
that
put words
later.
in your mouth. You go ahead,
That's right.
Sarah.
I've been working on, well, we did that pivot and transition the caregiver support group mainly to, online, Zoom call with, Megan Millard of Eastern Area Agency on Aging, and that's been going very well. I attended again last time. Megan is going to make herself available to come still on the 4th Wednesday up here in case someone just wanted to have some support one-on-one with speaking with her about caregiving needs that they have. So far, we haven't had many takers on that. So I said, gee, I'd hate to have you come all the way. But I said, no, I don't mind. So anyway, but the online group has done well. We've had 6 to 12 participants in the last couple of sessions, and so that's going well. Working with Robin, and Robin Stevens, we've been talking about starting a cancer support group. And that's a little more, I won't say intimidating, but a little more work to be done for the foundation, I think. I met with Kim Balloon at oncology clinic and possibly have like the hospital's multi-purpose room to meet. I think she felt the same, that people may feel more comfortable in that type of a support group in a healthcare setting. And I agree that would be great, but I'm still searching for someone maybe to facilitate. And maybe Andrew, as I see you today, makes me think, do you know of someone that doesn't have to be necessarily a licensed counselor, I don't think, although I think it would be helpful, but maybe that someone in training or that could, I don't know what your thoughts are. Should it require an LCPC or an LCSW?
I think at minimum an LSW to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm really searching for someone that could volunteer some of their time for something like that, even if it were just a monthly meeting, because Robin and I talked about it, and I envision that, we could run into some trouble or people, I don't want it to go the way caregiver did as far as start out with a bang and fizzle because we don't feel that we have the professional support that we maybe need.
I think
You know,
a big thing with that is putting the expectations out at the beginning, like this is what we are,
Right,
it's
right.
not necessarily all information. It's for people to come and just talk
Right.
about their experiences and
Right.
be able to share what they're going through.
Right. I just thought, Kim and I talked about it at the hospital and she said, she envisions that it could be problematic for, inviting a publicizing and you get people from all
Yeah.
stages and places in their cancer journey.
Yeah.
And, it's an emotionally charged time in people's lives. I think that it would be helpful to have someone with some experience in leading groups to at least be there to give that support, so it doesn't get away from people,
Yeah.
in the group. We want people to feel truly supported and have at least some guidance in navigating that meeting. But, anyway, all that to say is in the meantime, I've partnered with the Dempsey Center down in Lewiston, and they also have a location in South Portland, and they did contact the oncology clinic, provided some brochures of their services that are all free to any Maine resident with cancer. And so we made those available at the oncology clinic. But I asked Karen there, are people picking them up? She said, not really, and so I think it's a matter of making it known. I signed up for 6 sessions of the Living Well with Cancer series to see how they facilitate. What is it like? What do they cover? How does it go? And as a matter of fact, I have another one like in a few minutes. But it's it's interesting, and I talked with the facilitator there briefly before we started last time, and she said, no, I agree with you. I think having a counselor, someone available to guide would be a big help to people feeling supported. So we're working on that. They also said, when I spoke with them at Dempsey, they said, oh, we have in our new budget 2 mobile units that we're sending out to rural Maine somewhere. So would you like Millinocket to be one of the sites? And I said, I would love that. So could we make that happen? So they're looking into that and considering Millinocket for maybe a site where they would bring a mobile unit with a counselor to set up appointments for people in this area. So that's kind of in the work somewhere, maybe, of course, there's a lot of rural communities that need services. So, it may, but I think the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I asked,
Thank you.
what can you do? So we're hoping that that would be something that could come to pass. Let's see what else. As far as my other programs and projects, just briefly, really quick.
Excuse me, Sarah, I don't want to interrupt, but
No.
I have a 4 o'clock meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Michelle. Good to see you. So we've got a whole series set up with our partnership with Wabanaki Public Health and the University of Maine Cooperative Extension on our food security and food preservation series. Lori Bowen, again, providing some great cooperative extension programs. And we have one, as a matter of fact, this Thursday, the 23rd, here at the library, 3:30 to 5. It's seed starting. So I've gotten some materials together, and Jazz Thompson will lead our session on starting garden seeds. And we have materials so people can bring something home in their hands with the little seed starting packs. And I've gotten a person to donate some good seeds. So we're excited about that. From there, we're going into, we have a couple of more tentative dates in May, but we for sure have one lined up June 9th at the Healing Lodge. We're going to do quick pickles. They have a kitchen down there that they're letting us use, so we're doing that.
What was that date, Sarah?
That would be June 9th, 10 in the morning. And these will all be advertised. We're working with Nicole to make sure we advertise them well. July, we'll do one at the Gathering Place out at the Rice Farm Road. Garden Talks, question and answer, pests, garden pests is the thing, and they want to let people see what they're doing to use some natural alternatives to chemicals, and I think that would be great. Also, we have preserving game, making jerky in August. November, we're going to do fermenting foods, making sauerkraut. So we have a good lineup of food preservation, I think, between now and fall. So
Thank you, Sarah.
Yep.
Lots going on.
Yeah.
Um,
it's exciting.
last but not least, or not last, but what do you need from us around the farmer's market? Discussion and planning going forward?
Well, it's moving forward. I'm working with Nicole on some kind of Facebook post announcing that it's happening with a link for an application. We pretty much finalized the application. I think I needed from you an okay or designation of who to use as a fiscal sponsor. And I think after we chatted today, Tom, you had raised some questions about fiscal sponsorship, and I think for this first year, maybe just making Town of Millinocket / Farmers Market. So that when they get a check for $40, they'll know where to put it, basically.
Yeah,
That
so I
make-
I want to run that by Peter as well.
Want people to take care of themselves.
Whoops,
take care of their lives, take care of-
Peter, so
Right.
there's just a conversation around, we're starting the farmer's market. And of course, people will have to purchase their vendors,
We want, when they send the application in, that to have the vendor fee for the market plus the permit, copies of the other permits that they've paid for. Along with the application, so we don't have to chase people down for those permits. But as we talked about at town hall the other day. To whom should the check for the farmer's market seasonal fee be made out to? Are you comfortable with it being made to Town of Millinocket with a memo farmer's market so that for the first year, it simplifies the handling of the not very large amount of money that it's going to be?
Is this in relation to the fiscal sponsor conversation we had yesterday?
Yep, yep.
And the licenses would be, well. Hang on one moment, I have a visitor joining you. Can I have Miss Barbara here pose you a question as a town clerk and how this may be, yes, come on in.
It's a possibility, put me on the spot. Hi, everyone.
It's based around the thing for permits and things for the farmers market.
Okay.
That's coming up soon. Can you restate your question?
The Maine Federation of Farmers Markets has agreed if we want them to be a fiscal sponsor for the fees that we're gonna get from the vendors. Because we don't want to form a nonprofit at this point for the farmers market in case we, in the future, need to apply for grants or just to handle the money. The Maine Federation is not going to go away. They know what they're doing with farmers markets. It's not going to be a lot of money. Let's say we have 10 vendors, that's $400 for the summer, but we just need a place, a designation when people send us the fee, to whom should it be made out? And for the first year, who should be the fiscal sponsor?
Well, do you anticipate them being paid separately when the application is filed with the town, or is it gonna be in a one lump sum? I guess how the process for the application is done here is the applicant comes in, fills out the application, we handwrite a 3 hard copy peddler's permit at that moment, and then they go off with it. So are you anticipating on sending in applications and separately or together, or?
This is an application to be a vendor at the market, separate from the vendor and peddler fees that the town issues. This is a seasonal fee for June through September for to be a vendor at the market.
so can I jump in here? I think
I'm
so.
not sure if that's related to the town's operation at that point.
So Barbara's, we're establishing this farmer's market. And so we know there are fees associated with them getting a license to be able to sell their goods there. So that goes to the town. She's also asking, based on other farmers markets that they do this initial fee just to be part of the farmers market so that we have funds to do some advertising, or if we have to buy a table. So it's extra funds to support our local farmers market.
I see, so that's separate from the application itself.
Yeah, so there's
Okay.
two different things. And so she has talked with the Maine Federation of Farmers Markets. They're willing to be the fiscal agent for that other $40 that's going to come in with each
Okay.
vendor. Or I'm asking, and I talked to Tom about it, just under the age-friendly committee, can we just have an account of the town so that money sits there that we draw from if we put an ad in the paper or we need to purchase something, just to make it easier, it sits local.
That's more Mary Alice.
Well, I was gonna say, we most certainly can set up a donation line if you wanted it receipted, and then if you intend to sell, to purchase out of that line, kind of like the events committee does, then we'll have that line set up for you to draw out of. So if you wanted it in and out at the town level, we most certainly can set up a line for it to receipt under, and then it will hold just for your advertising for those licenses.
Okay, So the check should be made out to Town of Millinocket with a memo, farmer's market account, something like that.
Absolutely, sure.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That works.
Right.
That's easy enough.
And it
Okay.
could potentially
Okay.
change in the future, but for the first
Yeah.
year. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, we got that, made that a little more confusing that it need to be.
No, how you worded it was clear. I didn't realize it was separate fees, so that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Just keep in mind that spending from it would be council approval, council order.
Yeah.
Yep.
Warrant. So it's, I mean, it's not a split second decision. It would be over the course of weeks. So.
Yeah.
Just to keep that in mind, but it sounds like it's doable. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, so we
Great.
don't have to delay in getting this process going and
Good.
stuff. And then
Okay.
at some point, if we get bigger, we want to pull in the main, the
And
Federation.
I don't know if
farmers
this is
market.
the right time, but after August 31st, I won't be with AmeriCorps anymore, and so we need a point person for the farmer's market. We have to figure that out for continuity.
Yeah, so we'll have that on everybody's mind to figure,
Okay.
let's get this going. Okay. So I think we got that taken care of.
Oh, and the promotional event, I'm thinking more now of having it be a digital event, a blast of advertising, and Bangor Savings may give us a couple of gift cards that we can offer to vendors. Send us your email and your website for potential participation in our farmers market, and you may win a gift card, just to kind of get it. a
So
little
you've
excitement
shifted,
going.
okay, so you've shifted from an actual, an event.
Yeah, I don't want to put too much on my plate.
Yeah, very good. Andrew, do you have anything that you want to share before? We're good. We tapped into you enough. Mobilize Katahdin, the library. Partners.
Like we're well represented.
Yeah, yeah.
Could I just throw in, we have a member that we meet with once a week who is actually trained to do the matter of balance. And I would love to see that in person because they train people to do it, and I think
Yeah.
learning it on Zoom would be really training.
Yeah, no, having somebody trained and doing it in person would be
Yeah.
way better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go.
Yeah, I think it's super important.
Anybody on the screen? Zoom? No. Are you waving goodbye, Tom, or you want some attention? You waving goodbye, okay. How are you, Randy?
I'm all set.
What's that?
Thanks for that
Okay,
suggestion, Randy. That was a
I
good
did
one.
want to quickly just say thank you to, I've been trying to talk about sustainability going forward after August. So the Learn and Grow Garden here at the library, I know it's on the library property, but new partner, not only Wabanaki, going to maintain their boxes again this year. But we also have partnered with Breaking the Cycle. So I'm very excited about the fact that came up with the idea like, who could really use garden to table? They're just up the street. Can you come? Do you want boxes? I'll set them up for you, get it ready to go. And part of your therapeutic programming there at the residence and take home produce all summer long. And Heidi was very excited about that. So we're looking to meet with her this week and talk more about it. But they're going to have 3 6-foot garden boxes to
Nice.
garden with this summer. So we're excited about that.
Thank you,
Great.
Sarah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that is
And I
great.
hadn't had a chance to tell Randy yet, so that's why I wanted to.
Yeah, that's great news.
That's great news.
As shown on our agenda, our next M- meeting is scheduled for April 20th, 2 to 3:30. Maybe some of you already have it on your calendars. I know that was sent out quite a bit ago. As far as next meeting date, do we want to, if it falls where we usually have it fall, it would be April 18th, that school vacation week. Does that matter to anybody? Do you not want to meet because we're all going to be volunteering on the 22nd? And how do people feel about next meeting date? Do you want to stick to a monthly meeting or?
I'm good with it, but just because I have to be out of town on the actual Saturday, but
Will there be
whatever everyone else
vacation
wants.
camp here?
Yeah, so the 18th
Okay.
will be a problem for this route. It
Okay.
could be somewhere else, or I think any other week in April would be fine. in this room.
Could we use the other room or?
We could squeeze into.
Main
No,
room.
I mean,
It's going to be busy.
Where I am?
That
Oh, yeah. Okay.
area.
Oh, that's right. Main room doesn't have room. Yeah.
So do we want to move it to the April 25th?
I'd rather have it before the Earth Day, in case we have,
So we just need to find a different location.
or have it be on a Thursday.
We have the M- meeting.
Oh,
already
that's right.
scheduled
Oh, right, right, right.
3:30. What are our potential other opportunities for meeting spots?
Be Wednesday.
I don't know how good our Zoom is right now, but possibly up at Stearns. I would have to talk to our tech guy, Tom, and see. Because as long as I've been there for a year and a half, I've never seen the Zoom used as far
Okay.
as it's hooked up to the TV and
Okay.
everything, so.
Right, and maybe I could check to see if I don't know if the municipal, not the municipal, the multipurpose room at the hospital would be available.
Tentative date.
So the 18th at 3:00.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So stay tuned to be announced,
Yeah.
to be determined, right, as far
Or
as our
the
location.
13th?
No, it's the 18th.
I know, I'm just saying, or is that a possibility? No, the week before? No.
Nope, I'm not. Sorry, I'm not here.
Oh, okay.
Can't mean I'm not here. No, I didn't mean it that way, but it's not
Okay.
a good.
Okay.
Not our best choice.
Not our best choice, so, yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for, our age-friendly meeting, so, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So second, third, fourth, fifth. All right, thank you, have a great rest of your day. Thanks, Peter.
Yeah.